All right, so welcome to episode 2 of Goalie Training Pro TV, and my printer wouldn't print, so I'm a couple minutes late starting, but funny thing happened actually today. So we had our first really cold morning, it was -3 degrees. This morning we woke up, and we have this, we used to have this huge maple tree in our front yard that was gorgeous, and then the city came along one day and chopped it down, and didn't say we're gonna chop it down. This thing was like way over 100 years old. It was, that big around beautiful maple tree, and they didn't say, hey, we're gonna chop down your tree. So he just came home from work one day and our tree was gone. It's like, the hell. So then a few months went by and they planted a new tree. Whoa, my laptop almost fell on the floor. But the new tree they planted was tiny, and then they planted it right in the middle of our yard where we already have this humongous blue spruce. So it's okay, right now it's this big around and it's fine, but in a few years when it's huge, it's going to be a problem. So Paul and I dug it up and moved it to where the other tree used to be, and it's flourished. It's a beautiful little tree. So this morning, when Paul was leaving for work and we had to move the cars, it still had 3/4 of its leaves on it. And then I just went out to go to work to come here a couple hours ago, and it was like that tree in Harry Potter that it just shakes and all the leaves fall off right away. It was like that. There's 4 leaves left on it now. So probably because it was freezing cold overnight and maybe the frost or something. But anyway, just little fall story for you. But I wanted to chat with you about, so this episode is all about pre-ice warm-up, and so what you should go through. So on Instagram on Monday, for my Mobility Monday, I posted a really quick, this is the bare minimum that you should do before you get on the ice. And so then for you guys on Goalie Training Pro TV today, I'm going to give you sort of the full version of, these are the steps you should go through, this is what it should include, and then you'll know. So it is super important because, if you ever feel like it takes you 3, 5, 10 minutes to sort of get in the rhythm of the game, or if you find you're often getting scored on in the first 5 to 10 minutes, probably a huge part of that is that you're just not warmed up. And it's not even just that you feel warm and you feel ready. No, I feel good, I feel ready. It's that there are chemical processes that have to take place at the cellular level, at the muscular level, to make your muscles work efficiently and to get these energy substrates circulating in your blood so that when you use energy, there's more energy there to replenish it. Those have to be primed. It's like a Formula One race car. Those guys don't just go out and into the garage, and turn the key and then race in a Formula One. The tires have little cozies on them that keep them warm so they have good traction. The engines are running and are tuned and it's ready to go. Even the driver, they're hydrated, they're warmed up, they're ready to go. So you are a Formula One race car. So you need that warm up. It really is probably, we look at ways, how can I enhance my performance? Should I take protein powder? Should I drink Gatorade? Should I, see you, Mr. Sean? Do your proper warm up. There's performance enhancement right there, guaranteed, proven. Here we go. So let's walk through the steps as we go. I'm gonna pop you down. So I just have to go get a lacrosse ball. I'm just over here, I'm not going very far. So you should start with some kind of myofascial release. And Instagram can see me, but Facebook not so much. Some kind of myofascial release. I think the best thing to carry, what I carry in my hockey bag, is a lacrosse ball, because it's so easy, it's small, and it gets in there. You can really get it in there. So, you should do, and I put together a little checklist for myself so I wouldn't forget anything, because sometimes I do. So the areas, but you can also use something like a stick. So this is we use to give ourselves a massage. If you use something, whatever you use, foam roll, the stick, don't go, rip around all over. It's like if you went to get a massage from a massage therapist and they were like, no, you kind of be like, oh, this isn't really what I'm looking for. So, you know, think of it just like that, like you're your own massage therapist. So the areas you're going to get, you know, you're going to get your glutes, all areas of your glutes. You're going to get your hip flexors, which doesn't really feel very nice. It looks a little weird. You're going to get your iliacus, so on the inside of your hip bone, just kind of inside your pelvis there. You're going to get your lats, so up here on the back side of your armpit, because those muscles, you know, you don't think of it, but our lats come up from sort of our mid and low back and then underneath our arm like this. So when they're tight, they kind of pull us like that. Let me show you from the side. So when they're tight, they're in a position to almost pull you here. Well, if part of what I want to do is stay nice and tall in the net and take away a lot of space and be able to use my arms, I don't want to start like this. You work on your calves. You can also get your adductors, and it's a little bit harder to do just with the ball. Sometimes what we do is put the ball up on like a table or a bench, and then you can kind of get in there a little better. Really just because as I go up my leg here, my knee will kind of hit the ground, and then I can't sort of get in there. We also can do the fronts of our shins, not on the shin bone, but on that, it's called the Tibialis Anterior, the muscle right beside. You could get into your quads a little bit, you could get on your TFL, but again, if we're just going to pick like 5 areas, we'll go glutes, hip flexors, iliacus, lats, and calves. Calves are super important because you're going to say, why not my groins? You can do your groins. I would probably do my calves over that, because getting your calves, getting your ankles so that it can flex like this, like dorsiflex, is what lets you get in that good balanced ready position. And then you would do a little static stretch circuit. So just holding 30 seconds of each exercise. And again, there are a million things we could do. And you might specifically have some injuries that, you know, it's like, well, but I have to stretch my pecs, you know, before I play every time, or else, you know, then I have a sore shoulder or something. So we're not giving specific advice for injuries. It's just, hey, these are some of the areas you'll want to cover. So adductors, yeah, I think you should stretch your adductors. A lot of times, if it's a pregame, we'll do sort of some version of a dynamic stretch. Like, you know, maybe just holding in 3 different positions even. So like getting a rotation here for 15, straight out here for 15, straight out to the side for 15. You can also do a kneeling. You can do a tall kneeling. Lots of versions. Some kind of a glute stretch, you know, a figure 4 or an elevated glute stretch. Again, coming back to dorsiflexion. So watching my ankles, you know, making it so that I'm getting good deep flexion here at my ankles. So when I'm in my ready position, I'm balanced over my skates. If I don't have my dorsiflexion, then what happens is my butt gets thrown back and my chest has to come forward to keep me balanced, which isn't the position that you want at all. So I'd say of everything, the ankles are the most overlooked element of your mobility in general and your pregame or your pre-ice warm-up. Then we would do hamstrings, something for the hamstrings. So, you know, a standing hamstring, a supine hamstring. You know, if you have a little strap, you can put that around your foot and do supine. But the key with this is straight knee and this leg nice and straight and a straight back. Please, for the love of Martin Brodeur, do not do like this if you're doing a standing hamstring stretch, and then don't go and round your back and reach for your toes. Or, you know what? When Goalie Training Pro TV hits the big time and I have a backdrop that says Goalie Training Pro TV and everything, I'm also going to have like a camera person so they can move the camera up and down. These are my #life goals. Like this, doing this is not a hamstring stretch. And maybe you even feel it stretching in your hamstrings, but really what's doing most of the stretching is your back. So If you want to do a seated hamstring stretch, I don't personally think it's the best way to go. But if you do, you just have to get up nice and tall and then just pivot forward from your chest to feel that stretch. And then hip flexors. So, and make sure too when you do your hip flexors, like if you're doing your hip flexors and you're like this, you're not stretching your hip flexors again. You're stretching your back into extension. So hip flexor, this thigh should be straight down or slightly back, and then you're going to tuck your bum underneath to feel it in the front of your hips. Or you can do a hip flexor foot on the wall, which then will get a little bit more rectus femoris in the front of your thigh. So, again, those are sort of, if I was going to pick just 5 areas, because I know that a lot of you don't have okay, here's a great warm-up. It's going to take you 45 minutes to do. It's like, I don't have 45 minutes. I just have like 10 or 15. So some self-myofascial release, and then static stretch circuit, about 30 seconds on each side. If we're going to do 5 areas, it would be adductors, glutes, dorsiflexion, hamstrings, and hip flexors. So there we've and we've also done like a little circle check of our body. Like, how does that feel today? Does that feel tight? Is my right side's tight, but not my left side? Oh, that's tight. It's not normally tight. Maybe I need to give it a little more attention. You can see how it gives you a lot of information before you even get on the ice. Then the next thing would be the dynamic warm-up. So, and you would do about 4 of each of these. You can do them traveling out in the hall, outside the dressing room, or you can just do it on the spot in the locker room. It's totally fine. But you do like single plane movements to start with. So, for example, you might do, my head's still cut off. Actually, I'd rather you just see my legs than my head anyway. So, that would be things like walking quad stretch, walking knee hug, leg cradle, hamstring, those kinds of things. So you would do, and I think that would be a good selection. Quad, something for the hip, and something for the hamstrings in that straight line plane of movement. And then you would go, so that would be a sort of a sagittal plane. And then you would go frontal plane, which would be some sort of down and back type of motion. And then you would go multiplanar, which would be something that combines. So this is a sagittal plane movement, but now I'm going to add in rotation to it. So, different ways that we can work that and challenge our body to move in different planes, just the way we're going to do on the ice. Or, sometimes when you go down and back, we go rotate, and then feet together. So that would be our dynamic warm-up. So again, about 4 of each. We're going to do some just in the straight sagittal plane, like quad, hamstring, glute. We'll do some in the frontal plane. That will help get our groins. We'll do some multiplanar that might be like a hip extension and then into a rotation to tie in that link from our hip flexor up through our abdominal obliques. Might be a frontal plane movement with a rotation, again, to go from our adductors right up through our obliques to work that pattern. Because a lot of times when you see a goalie tear out their groin, they've done their leg is out and then they've reached for a puck. And they've torn their groin, when really the groin was okay here, but now when I add that extra tension through the chain, we have a weak link, and boom. Then you would go to some rapid activation. So that could just be as simple as like quick step lateral hops. So if we go, if we just go quick step, 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 hop, step, step, hop. And thinking about, okay, where should I be? What are my hands doing? We don't want it to be like, step, step, hop, step, step, hop, or something weird. We want it to be like, okay, so, we're going to move quickly with purpose, come back and close up, and not leave big gaps. So that will get your muscles firing a little quickly. I'm using some specific movement patterns, but not trying to mimic like, backside recovery or something like that. You know, we're not going to be trying to be sliding around on the floor of the dressing room. And then two, right at the very end, you would add in a little bit of hand-eye coordination. Again, my preference if you're going to do some juggling is to do it overhand, because that's when you're most of your catching is up here. Not too much. I mean, yeah, sometimes you'll get handcuffed, but not too much is under here. So I'd rather it be up here. And most of us, I'm right-handed, I hold my stick in my right hand and my glove in my left. So practice most of your catching in your left. You can still catch in your right, but it's like, oh, I'm really good at this. You know, with the hand that I don't actually ever catch with on the ice is awesome. It's this one that we need to worry about. I feel like I'm talking fast today. Am I talking fast? Give me like a thumbs up if I'm just talking fast. It's been one of those days. I'm working on a new live workshop that I'm going to do next Thursday night. It's going to be free, so I'll let you know. But I've been working on it and trying to get it. Yeah, yeah, I know. Just breathe, Maria. That feels better. So I'm working on this new workshop and just trying to get it right of what I'm going to cover and how to deliver information that is going to help anybody. So, you know, whether you're one of our turning pro goalies or a goalie that aspires to play in the NCAA or, you know, go to the NHL or whatever. And it will also help a goalie that's like, okay, you know what, that ship sailed. Maybe if I'm lucky, I'll be in the stands one night when like all the goalies get food poisoning, and it's one of those ones where they're like, does anybody know how to play goal? You know, and you get to go stand in the net and get shelled for a while. But, you know, I wanted to help all of you. So I've been working on that, and I didn't get it done. My goal was to get it all done. Fast but clear, thank you. My goal is to get that all outlined, all done, because when I do those, even though they're free workshops, I practice them a lot so that I can deliver it clearly and concisely. These things I don't practice at all. This one, actually, with Goalie Training Pro TV, I do put an outline because I don't want to forget some of the content that I want to deliver, but I don't really practice it. But those workshops, I put a lot of time and effort into them, so I'm a little rattled that I didn't get it finished. But anyway, back to the hand-eye stuff. When you are, so do work the side that doesn't feel as good, that isn't as easy. But also, if it's before a game or a practice, pick the drills that you are good at. Don't pick that time to like, I think I'll get a reaction ball and I'll close my eyes and use strobe glasses and something that is just going to suck. And then you're going to go on the ice thinking, oh, I'm a little off, you know. So pick something that just, again, is very, you know how to do it. So you might throw with your right, catch with your left, you know, follow it right into, practice that good habit, follow it right into your hand, you know, try to read the markings on the lacrosse ball, you know, or pick up whether it's this side or this side, you know, so that you're actually trying to focus on the ball. But you would only do that for like a minute or so. So, let's recap. I get excited too, and I start talking fast when I get excited. I think that's a big part of it. But let's recap. Self-myofascial release, little static stretch circuit, about 5 exercises. So combine those things, will take you, you know, 8 to 10 minutes. Then you're going to do a little dynamic warm-up, 4 on each side of about, again, 6 different exercises. So that'll take you about 3 minutes. And then you're going to finish with some rapid activation, which will be, you know, some sort of quick movement to get your muscles firing quickly using different patterns. And even at the end of that, even though you're only going to do, you know, it'll only be like a 10 to 15 second duration of maybe 2 drills, you're a little bit like, okay, I'm a little bit breathing a little harder than normal, not like, but just breathing a little bit harder. Then you're going to go into a little bit of hand-eye, just for like up 30 seconds or a minute. Then you'll have a sip of water. We usually don't drink Gatorade or a sugar-containing drink before we go on the ice because it will actually stimulate our insulin response and tell our body to take up sugar and store it in our cells. And then we get on the ice, and just like I talked about in the beginning, part of this warm-up is to get energy substrates flowing in our blood so that we have them easily at our disposal to, to make more energy molecules to fuel our work on the ice. So, but just have some sips of water and then take your time getting dressed. And even while you're getting dressed, think of the one or two sort of technical things, very simple technical things that you're going to focus on, or what your mantra is going to be for that game. It might be like, find the puck, stay low, or square on the puck. If you often make the mistake of squaring up to the shooter, which I do, I catch myself doing it a lot, square to the puck, square to the puck, square to the puck, and just have that so that you know what you're going to focus on to set you up for success. So that's pretty much it, gang. For London, Ontario area goalies, I'm trying to put together an 8-week masterclass. There will be 4 in-person sessions here at Revolution Conditioning that I will personally coach, and then there will be 8 weeks of online training. So if you're in the London area, you can hit me up. Hi, Dave. Hello from Canada. Right back at you. You can hit me up for the details on that. Really exciting news. In December, I'm heading to New York City. I'm going to meet up with Anthony Renna, who's the host of Strength Coach Podcast, and Mike Boyle and Mark Fitzgerald and Devin McConnell and a couple other people I can't remember, but for little hockey strength and conditioning kind of like mini roundtable thing. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to try and see a Rangers game when I'm there too. So always great to learn from those guys because they're just, we see far by standing on the shoulders of giants. So anytime I can get in a room with some giants and people who have been wonderful mentors to me, like Mike Boyle, it's, it's well worth hopping a plane to New York City. Plus, I love New York City, so it's not too hard to do. So I hope you enjoyed this episode number 2 of Goalie Training Pro TV. Am I going to be in Niagara Falls anytime soon, Dave? No, I don't think so. No, it's not on my schedule right now. Sorry, man. Actually, sorry, I saw one more question. Steve, we used to do what was called a hurdle stretch. Is this no longer a good stretch for hamstrings? Actually, I talked about this already. If you go back and watch in the episode, the problem with hurdler stretch is that most people's hamstrings are so tight that they can't sit in that position with a neutral spine, with the tall back. They sit in that position and their back is rounded, and then we're really stretching. I'm getting excited. I'm talking fast again. Then we're really stretching our back, not so much our hamstring. So for most people, unless you actually have quite flexible hamstrings, a standing hamstring stretch is better. That's a good question. Okay, gang, thanks for joining me for episode 2, Goalie Training Pro TV. We'll be back next Wednesday with episode 3. If you have any ideas for topics, just put it in the comments below. I got lots of ideas, but I want to make sure I'm covering what you want to know. And my plan is starting next week, although if one of you has an awesome suggestion, I'll change it. But my plan is to do a full bottoms-up episode or series. So next week we would start with talking about the ankle and, how the ankle impacts goalie performance on the ice, ankle injuries, how to overcome them, how to prevent them, all that stuff. So that's sort of the plan of attack, but things can change. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.